Welcome everyone, Augusty speaking, and welcome back to highlights from the Civilization World Cup. This time we're going back to week 3 on Inland Sea. Between two teams, it was a set of 4 duels, basically between Robin Desboite and De Apadana on Group A. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the action. So it started with Netski on a very difficult spawn for the French team here, which was saved a little bit by Nanmador right next to him. But very early, you faced Scotland, where Skycry was playing with a lot of fresh water, which really is a must on this map type if you know it a little bit. To the south, there was Archetype playing Mapuche against Milambert playing Canada. You'll see this duel actually will be relatively one-sided, but I'll let you discover it in a few minutes. Unfortunately, Milambert did not get the tundra he wanted as Canada, so a little bit unlucky again for the Civfr team. Civfr team composition was really focused on getting cultural victory as soon as possible with Greece and Canada. In the middle of the map, we had one duel between Phoenicia and finally Japan, where Corny was playing. So it was really making a weird, awkward situation between Dido because he had to fight on land and sea. And finally, on the right side of the map, we had a duel with Middle Student, which settled without freshwater, and MGK, which was playing Chandragupta here. So Georgia against Chandragupta. Also, I noted the city states actually had a huge impact this game, especially Nanmadol, Antananarivo, and Brussels. We'll discover this as the time passes on. And finally, on top, we see Bis playing Greece as well, trying to get the cultural victory for Civfr. Most of the early game was actually relatively quiet. The investment were made for a trade route on Middle Student and some tiles and a builder for the Phoenician player. So most of the action was really just scouting and positioning war. Where it became interesting really is when the third city from Phoenicia was settled next to Scotland. And in answer to that, we got a reaction with double encampment from Skycry, which is relatively unknown to many players in the competitive scene. At the same time, Japan was scouted by Civfr, ensuring that the 2v1 was actually going to happen. The Varus got up. The sim from Bis was very good, but not as good as the Skycry sim really behind this, as the front was relatively quiet on this side here until the mid game. He went for Artemis Temple, Stonehenge, Moksha, and also with the pressure and the new governor revamp, it was a very strong choice. He managed to get so many districts, cities production so early that it really put the Civfr team on the backhand. Although the pressure from Middle Student actually managed a little bit, this front will be stabilized by MGK on this side up until very later. And as time goes by, really, the advantage actually was shifting slowly towards Civfr when Middleton made a mistake and revealed Antananarivo to give Bis so much culture for this game as he stole the suzerain of the city-state. In the meantime, Architect decided to go for a Malin rush and a Malin push, which against Canada, which actually worked beautifully because there were some swordsmen missing on the Canada's part, really. So it really was hard to defend. And at the same time, the caravels were upped for Phoenicia, which actually got to hit Japan and block him entirely, kill his entire fleet, which they could not afford to upgrade because they had spent all their gold on the Marlin Riders for Archetype. So with the second wave of frigates, really, Japan's fate was now done. Japan lost most of his cities, most of his navy, and it was very difficult to come back from this position, making this a relatively 3v4 in favor of Civfr. However, the Marlin Riders did so beautifully that it actually knocked Canada out alongside a eruption on St. John to make sure that actually it became more of a 3v3 scenario as Canada was now becoming really irrelevant in this game, unfortunately for Civfr. So even though the goal was missing and everything, Scotland managed to get an army up and pushed on the Phoenician player, which was at the same time pushing on Japan. So it was really a base trade scenario where Netsky had to split his navy and try to temporize the situation on his own land while finishing the Japanese play on the other side, which honestly didn't work out too well as a huge tornado also swept through MGK's land, giving Middle Student the edge on this fight and really turning the balance into double Apadana's favor here. With some time and with a lot of investment, and yes, another volcano eruption again, the Japan players actually managed to take back the cities and kill most of the navy, while the Phoenician player could not defend his homeland, and while at the same time Milambert and Canada was falling behind. The last hope really was Bisbee still trying to get this cultural victory, but was being blocked entirely by Scotland, which had an absurd amount of culture for this time of the game. The only victory condition that was still available was really the diplomatic victory, but the liberation of Brussels gave all the favors to the double Apadana team to ensure that they would win the next Congress to really knock the diplomatic victory out of the question. And finally, it turned back to finish the game, an epic comeback with the Navy from Japan and the last samurai had to take back his own capital, where the CC ensured by Civfr giving the victory to double Apadana. So amazing game. If you liked it, put a thumbs up, subscribe, and like. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.